welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another Premier Division review show. Delighted to welcome in JP onto the show again. JP, what's the crack?
Aye, all good, Keith. Thank you for having me on again.
Not a bother. All good. We might as well start at the brand new well. Finished Derry City 7, UCD 1. I was at Dalymount. I was checking the scores at half time, and the blink when I saw a couple of times when I saw Derry led 5-0 at the interval, patching up with the scoring in 13. You know, McGonigal ends up getting a hat trick. McJanet, Dummigan, Boyce, and Andy Lyons. This is going to be a feature, I'm telling you, all season.
Yeah.
Toe to toe for the top scorer, the wing back in the league. Whoever wins that battle should get a prize at the end of the
Boyce
season.
had one disallowed as well before half time, right on the stroke for offside.
So that could be critical. And actually, Talbot made a save from Lyons last night as well, funny enough. But Nolan scored for UCD as well. But yeah, I mean, look, we spoke how Derry reacted after the defeat against Shelbourne. And even though they didn't get all 3 points of Drogheda, we felt they reacted well. I suppose this really proved that fact as well. You know, it's all right to say UCD are bottom, but nobody has dished out this punishment to them all season. From UCD's point of view, I suppose, as well. You know, after the way they lost the Pats, the confidence are going to be on the floor now after this, I think, as well, isn't it?
I think it was just a matter of Derry taking revenge out in UCD for not beating Shelbourne and Drogheda, basically. I wouldn't say they took out revenge, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, they knew that they had to win the game, and they just went out. And the first half, they just blew UCD away. They really did. Patrick McElhinney was absolutely brilliant. Just that deep lying midfielder picking passes. Just picking passes from anywhere, and the ball over the top he sent for Patson for the first goal was unbelievable. He sees passes that probably nobody else sees, because there was a time near the end of the first half as well where there's 3 men around him, and he just chipped the ball over the top of 3 of them, and Ronan Boyce was in and goal, and UCD got a good block on it. But Derry were clinical, and that's, I think Higgins said in the build up, but they won league titles, you have to be clinical and you have to put teams to bed when you're on top, and Derry made no mistake. But I think it was Shane McElhinney played the pass for the second one, and somebody said it was Cameron Dubbigan who need to have a look back at that, but that was another excellent ball over the top. It just caught Sam Todd flat footed, and McGonigal's touch, it wasn't a great touch, but just thought whenever he touched it, got away from him, but he managed to get there before the keeper. And the third one was a great ball from Brian Maher. Quick start. It started the attack quickly. McGonigal, defender, came in to try and mark him. McGonigal just rolled him. Away he went.
At that point, lovely finish, though, isn't it? It's a lovely finish. Well, he has this way. I don't know what it is. I've seen him do the same technique, whether he hits it high or low to the corner. It's just a finesse shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a lovely type of finish he's able to apply. Like,
it was a great finish. And at that point, it was just a matter of how many for Derry. Now, we didn't think there was still 20 minutes left in the first half, so you're thinking, are they going to take the foot off the gas or whatever? But I think they done the right thing. They kept their foot on the gas. They got the game won before half time. And then they took Dummigan off at half time, who's probably played near enough every minute of the season. So that was a good wee change for Roy, that he was able to make them type of changes, and came out second half. McGonigal's missed a good chance to make it 6 before Boyce made it 6, and then a great finish then for his hat trick. But fair play to UCD, they didn't lie down. They kept going, and all right, they didn't create a lot of chances, but they got themselves a corner from a free kick that they had. They got a corner out of it, and ball dropped well in the 6-yard box, and no one put it away. And I seen Maher, he just started kicking the post and stuff like that. He wanted his clean sheet, basically. But look, it was a clinical performance from Derry. It was a very good performance, and we spoke about how other teams have got their first loss this season and haven't reacted well to it. And one of them teams was Sligo, who nearly lost to UCD. St. Pat's were lucky against them the other day as well. So they are a dangerous team if you're not on your game. But we saw.
They haven't got any. I think we spoke about it maybe last week or a week or two ago. They haven't actually had any what you would call hiding UCD.
No, I think they probably now the most is probably what 3-0, 3-0, 3-0.
3 to Shamrock Rovers, I think, in the opening day of the season. And
that's right.
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest defeat they've had all season. So as you say, they're not taking hidings, but they got one last night basically, and
it's hard to believe the score and ended on 63 minutes in a 7-1 as well, isn't it?
It does, but McGonigal must have great. I'm not sure if it was 7-0 or 7-1, but he must have a great, a lovely through ball from Evan McLaughlin, and you're thinking, here we go, where's 8 and 4 McGonigal, and he put it over the bar, but can't remember now if that was at 7-1 or 7-0 or whatever, but Matty Smith then was trying too hard, I think, and to try and get himself on the score sheet. And everybody was just shooting from everywhere because the goal Cameron Dummigan scored right on half time, he let rough. It was 25, 30 yards out, and there wasn't a lot of power in it. And the goal, it bounced in front of the goalkeeper, but he still probably should have been saving it. And that's why I think in the second half, that's why everybody was shooting from distance.
Yeah, that's what happens as well. Actually, you're right. When the team often is 6-7-1, whatever, like if that happens, and you're right, everyone tries to get in the score sheet, and it becomes a turkey shoot, but it also becomes like a greed fest as well, a little bit, doesn't it? And you don't blame that, to be fair. I mean, the game is won, and you've scored a lot of goals, and you're dying to get in the score sheet as well. From ECD's point of view, it's a really bad defeat on the back of I did say the other week there, when they're in situations where they can get a win maybe or a point, they have to try and get them, because they will have games where they will be beaten, you know what I mean? Now, I didn't expect 7-1 to be fair, but they're going to have games like that where they're beaten comfortably, let's say. So it's not looking good for them at the bottom of the table, let's be fair, is it?
No, it's not. And this result's not going to, it's not going to be good for their goal difference first and foremost, because it could come down to that at the end of the season. I don't anticipate it coming down to goal difference, but the other thing is it's not going to be good for their confidence going forward. But look, I think they've responded well previously, but it's whether they can respond to a defeat like this and get it out of their minds quickly. They've got a week before they play again, so it's possible that they'll go out next week and put in a better performance. But I think what we saw last night in the first half from Derry could have been quite easily what we saw at the UCD Bowl as well. I think Derry hit the bar 3 times, keeper made a save. So that game was 0-0 at half time, it quite could have easily been 3 or 4 as well in that game. And in the end, Derry got 3, I think, in the second half for one disallowed down there. So they're very good performance from Derry. UCD but disappointed. They made 4 subs. I think they knew themselves at half time game was over, so they started the ring. They made 4 subs at half time, just probably to try and get boys game time rather than blaming anybody really. But it's a learning curve for UCD. They'll want to take this and learn from it and see where they can use it to get themselves results going forward. Yeah,
Derry's still top of the league. McGonigal now is the top scorer with 7 goals in the league at the moment as
behind him in 6.
That's what I was about to say. The Patches behind him in 6. Yeah. So they're 2 guys having your fantasy team, lads. I might have them in mine. Dundalk 2, Shelbourne 1 at Oriel. The wrong captain though. Patchin is captain, not McGonigal.
I haven't even looked at mine since the first week.
You're probably flying though. You've all those Derry lads in. It finished Dundalk 2, Shelbourne 1 at Oriel Park, and big win for Dundalk. 3 send-ins off as such in the game. Damien Duff got sent off on half time. I'm not sure if it was for literally giving guff or throwing a bottle. I've heard a bit of both, but he got sent off. Shane Griffin was sent off.
I think that Duff sending off was coming, so it was.
Shane Griffin got sent off as well right in half time. That's what it was about, the whole scenario. And Stephen Bradley was sent off in 56 minutes, so he'll probably miss the Loud Derby next week. So that's a blow, really. But all that happened before any goals were scored. Daniel Kelly kept up his good form in front of goal, giving Dundalk the lead in 64, his 3rd of the season. Shane Farrell equalised in 81 with a penalty, and you're thinking Shelbourne, we're getting a good point here maybe after the humbling defeat to Bowes the other day. But John Martin scored his first goal for the club. A typical John Martin goal. I've seen him score quite a few goals like this for Waterford. Great cross in from Keith Ward, but it was a lovely header from John Martin, and he gets off the mark. That's 6 wins, 6 points from 9 for Dundalk now, with 2 home wins and only the Rovers defeat in between there. Keeps them at 4th on 18 points, and I suppose they're not drawn too many games now. They're starting to get more wins in the belt, so they'll be delighted with that, won't they, JP?
Yeah, we never saw that they went in front last night. I did think they would win this game. I think I said that, or maybe I didn't. I don't know, but it's a first defeat away from home for Shelbourne, so a really good result for Dundalk on the basis of it. As you say, they're starting to turn these draws into wins now. I know they lost the Rovers on Monday
especially
night,
at home, because it is important to get your home form, isn't it? Right, if you can.
Yeah, it is, and especially if you want to be up there challenging for Europe. Like I know Dundalk fans know that they're not in the level of Derry and Shamrock Rovers, but they know that they are possibly better than the likes of Pats and Bows and stuff like that. And the only way to do that is they get 3 points. And Stephen O'Donnell will be absolutely buzzing with it, because whenever I saw them going 1-0 up and then Shelbourne equalising, you're thinking, oh, deja vu as far as Dundalk are concerned, that they can't kill teams off and then they go and draw the game. But fair play to them. They went and they won the game. A great ball from Keith Ward and brilliant header from Shane Martin, you called him?
John Martin, yeah.
Great header. Great win for Dundalk. And you can see now that there's a pack starting to form at the top of the division, where Sligo are away to Drogheda tonight, and it pressures on them ones now for they keep on there along with Licks and Dundalk and Pats. And I think Dundalk, as I said, they got the win last week, and I said I could see them kicking on after the Shamrock Rovers game, and I think they'll do that. Like they've just beaten Shelbourne 2-1. They're home to Drogheda next week, I think, and that'll be a lively one. In the stands and on the pitch, and I can see them kicking on now and really asserting their authority on being in that group of teams that are trying to get in the top 3.
Yeah, Shelbourne be disappointed, but at the same time, no harm done, because they're 5 points still above Finn Harps on the table, and that's a good thing for Shelbourne, I suppose. Ultimately, it is staying in the division. People can say what they want, but that has to be the case, because obviously last time they were here, they didn't stay in the division, so that they have to build that foundation. But they can go and lose a couple of games there and still be 5 points out of 9th place. So picking up a win here and there for Shelbourne, it seems like that'll be enough, really.
It does, and whenever they go to, they probably would have saw the Brandywell as a free hit for them last week, where we'll go there. We'll go there if we lose, no harm done. Just make sure that we win the games when we come up against Alexa, Finn Harps and Drogheda, etc. in the coming weeks. And they've gone to Brandywell and they've won, and then that allows them they lose a couple of games. Not that they want to lose a couple of games, but it gives them that breathing space where they can lose a couple of games, and then whenever they come to the likes of the teams around them or the teams below them, that they know that if to pick up a win,
pressure's on the opposite team to win as well.
Yeah, exactly. So look, Damien Duff, he'll not be happy with defeat. We know that. He said he's not interested in moral victories either. But he'll know, he'll be realistic. He'll know the capabilities of his squad, on what they can achieve this season. And I think, as you touched on there, it's probably just about staying above that staying above 9th place, basically, because they came up the last time, they went straight back down, unbelievably, because they at one point in the season they weren't even looking like they were going to get down, and all of a sudden there was a run from Van Harps, and Shelbourne just dropped in there, and they lost to Longford in the playoff final. But I think they'll have a wee bit too much over the course of the season for them. They drop into the playoffs. But look, they've 2 defeats now in a row. One of them's away from home. How will they respond is the main thing. And Damien Duff says last night, I think before the game, that his boys know how to respond to defeats. And I didn't see the game, but it looked a tight game, so it did. So they lost 4-1 against Bows, and they've gone to Oriel Park and they've gone to 85th minute and on level terms got themselves back in the game. And so maybe anybody can tell us, was it a good response from the defeat to Bows? Who knows? But the one thing is that they would have wanted to come away with at least something.
Yeah, indeed. It's been St. Patrick's Day too, Finn Harps nil at Richmond Park, and I suppose Pats, if you like, responded to that near upset against UCD. I think it's fair to say by beating Finn Harps 2-0, and it's good to see. I suppose from a Pats point of view, it's great to see Owen Doyle get a couple of goals. One was a penalty. He scored a very good header. Actually, I think it was Billy King across it in, similar to the goal he scored actually at Finn Park, funnily enough, where the header just he goes past McGinley. This time McGinley does make a dive to it, but can't actually get to it. But McGinley, to be fair, did make some good saves in the first half of this game as well. And ultimately, I think it was a professional performance. But Pats are quite solid at the back. They've only conceded 8 goals this season, which is joint best with Shamrock Rovers. They'd like to get a few more. But I think with Pats is, JP, if they can get Owen Doyle on a good run, like it's going to make a big difference for them, really, isn't it?
Aye, well, that's why they brought him back, because they get them to that next level. They won the cup last year, and they lost a few players, and they probably knew they needed a big signing, and fair play to them. They went and they spoke to Owen, and they got him back. And as you say, a striker can only be as good as the service he gets, and he scored 2 last night, albeit once from a penalty spot, but they all count. And he scored really good header, great ball in, you say, from Billy King. And we saw a couple of weeks ago against Dundalk where he had 2 headers, and the keeper made a fairly decent save with one of them, and a world class save with the other. And you're thinking, with the other save, maybe should he have headed it down? This time he does, he heads it down, and McGinley scrambling across his net, can't get anywhere near it. And that's why he was signed. He was signed. They won these tight games, especially against the likes of Finn Harps, where you're not going to get many chances. Now, I don't know if they did get many chances in the game, but
first half they did. McGinley made some good saves. Second half, I think after the penalty, particularly after the penalty, Harps came into it a bit, to be fair, as well, and had a lot of the ball. But generally, a professional performance by Pats. Like Ben McCord made his first start to the season after coming on against UCD and did well. 19-year-old, very, very good player. Harps, from their point of view, they'll be disappointed, I suppose. I just heard myself and you heard Ollie Horgan talking after the game. There was some nice little nuggets in there. I'll encourage people to search that up and look for it. But I thought the thing I took from the interview as such was the fact that he mentioned that basically he could have easily walked away at the start of the season, and any sane man, essentially, now I'm paraphrasing a little bit here as well, but any sane man probably would have. Like, it just seems like Ollie Horgan's fairly calculated, JP, and I was trying to digest it and think to myself, why is he saying this and why is he saying it now? We knew there was something going on with the board and Ollie in terms of was he going to be back and all, but this is the first time Ollie has come out and said something, as far as I know anyway, on radio or whatever, or in an interview. So it was an interesting one, and there's a message there somewhere. You're never sure with Ollie what the message is exactly, but how did you read that?
I saw it as a man who he's very honest, is what you have to give Ollie Horgan. He's very honest in his assessments.
Yeah.
And for quite a number of years now, there's been this wee bit of a doubt at the end of the season whether Ollie's going to be in charge for the following season. And we got into, I think, the middle of pre-season, and Ollie Horgan was taking the pre-season, and Finn Harps hadn't announced that he was staying, basically. So I saw there's a wee bit of
course, Hegarty left as well. He was his right hand man.
They didn't announce that either. So I think there's a wee bit of code deciphering needed for what Ollie Horgan has said, because from what I took of it is he's basically saying, well, I could have walked away and I stayed, as he having a dig at the board for the type of players that he's had to bring in from the foreigners, and no disrespect to them. They might be, or
maybe even JP, the lateness of having to bring him in because of the uncertainty. Perhaps that's another thing that you might possibly we could consider. Yeah,
possibly. Because don't get me wrong, they might be good lads and stuff like that, but it does take a bit of a time when you bring in new players in the league to get up to scratch. And look, I think that this could well be Ollie's last at Finn Harps. That's what I got from the interviews. If it doesn't go his way this year, I know he said that they might flick a playoff again and stay up and whatever and build from there, but really I can see him Finn Harps fans will know more than me, Will, what his mentality is for moving on. But he's been there from 2014, and he's done a lot of work on the background. Like I know talking, they few boys that support Finn Harps, and they say that the work that he does for that club is over and beyond of what a manager should be doing. And I think Finn Harps need to do everything they can. They hang on to him because will they get a manager to do what Ollie Horgan has done? If they make sure that this club gets out of first division, but not only do they, I know they went down again, but they came back up, and they've been in the division now for 4 years, so they're now an established Premier Division club.
In a division JP, that's become harder as well, I think.
Yeah, it's becoming harder year on year, and you have to move with the times. And look, you can say what the one thing Finn Harps won't do is spend beyond their means, and you have to give them credit for that. But unfortunately, whenever that happens, then you're starting to fall behind. In the division, especially when you get a team like Shelbourne coming up, who go full time straight away, start spending money, bringing top quality players in, and then if you look behind them in the first division, it's Cork and Galway. Now I don't know what Cork's situation is, but I would say that they're probably nearly full time. Galway, we know we're definitely full time.
Cork are full time, yeah. Cork are full time.
So if they manage to stay up through the playoffs this year, it's quite possible that the division is going to be even tougher for them next year. So it's hard to read what Ollie Horgan was saying. Anybody that knows him better than we do might be able to tell us. But from what I was getting is that this could possibly be his last season at Finn Harps, because we know there's been quite a few times where they've had to actually hang on to him because it was nearly out the door. Like,
he's definitely 100% thought about what he said. I can guarantee you that. I think another thing for Finn Harps, the fact that Webster's clearly, he hasn't said how long he's out for, but I did mention this last week. Looks like he's out for a long time as well. And we've talked about defensively, they've missed a lot of players and that. But missing him now is a complete disaster for them, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it is. Like, he's a big player. He's an experienced player. He's been with Shamrock, Rovers and whatnot. And for Ollie Horgan to get a player of that caliber up, they play for Finn Harps on the budget that they have is a great testament to the work that the man puts in. And he, as you say, he didn't say in the interview how long he was going to be out, but he did hint that it could possibly be months. Season, but then he did say about Ryan Connolly will be long term, but not months, maybe weeks rather than months. So that's another big player missing in the middle of the park. Whenever you think of the players that they have lost in their close season,
he's a bit of a Mark Coyle replacement as such. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, they lost Coyle, they Shelbourne, and they've Connolly there, and they've lost him to injury now. With this part of the season where all the matches are rammed, you need your squad. And when you have two key players like that missing, it makes your job even harder. And I really think that Finn Harps will be blessed that UCD are in the division this year, and that's no disrespect to UCD, but without UCD being in the division, Finn Harps are probably playing for they stay off the bottom, but they're probably playing catch up rather than what they're doing. They're sitting in the playoff spot, and you expect them not to go any lower or any higher. But as we know, when it comes into the winter, when the rain is lashing down and the wind is blowing, that's when Finn Harps start to get results, and they'll want to stay within that couple of points where they can get results like that. But it's just looking like a bleak season for Finn Harps at the minute, like, isn't it?
It is. You still wouldn't rule them out because you know what they're like. But I suppose finally, quickly on Pats, I mean, they're third in the league at the moment. I mean, that's where they want to be, isn't it?
Yeah. It's probably where they expect it to be. It's probably where they'll expect to be come the end of the season. Look, I know they finished second last year. And people will be thinking, oh, you finished second, now you're finishing third. But don't forget the money that they spent,
yeah.
the signings that they've made, you've got to be like realistic. So third for Pats this season. They'll no doubt they'll be going out to defend their FAI Cup. So if they finish third, get into Europe, get a good run in the cup. New manager, lots of new players. I can see that as being a good season for St. Pat's.
Yeah, they could well develop as well as the season gets on, in my opinion. But on to Daleyman Park, and then finished Bohemians 1, Shamrock Rovers 3. And yeah, I mean, Rovers struggle at Daleyman usually when they go there. They lost their last 3 games, and they just don't like going to play Bowls at Daleyman. But I thought they were excellent in this game. It all went wrong for Bowls because of the goal scorers mainly. I mean, Andy Lyons up and scoring it for 5 minutes. Max Murphy, who was at Rovers last year, scores an OG. And then finally, just to rub salt in the wound, Mandrew scores on 70 minutes. I mean, the other thing that could have went wrong really was Pico Lopez, I guess, scoring really. But it was a game. Look, it was a game. It was strange because it was feisty for starts. It's always a bit of feist when you got Bowls and Rovers. But Rovers they won the game comfortably, if I'm honest with you. It's a long time I've seen Rovers go to Daleyman Park and win the game comfortably. Bowls are often emotionally charged for this game, and that usually works in their favour. But I thought, watching the first 20 minutes in particular, there was too much emotion in it. There was for the players now mainly. They were diving into tackles. Sometimes they're making good tackles, sometimes they're rash. There was just no control at all in their game. All the control was going for Rovers in the game. They passed the ball well. They dominated midfield. Jack Byrne's really starting to motor now as well. You can see he's getting fitter and fitter. And when you've got him and the likes of Tell, Gary O'Neill in midfield, you're going to, you're going to do well. Mandrew's starting to play well. His movement's excellent as well. Bowes, as I said, they kind of struggled for most of it. Lions did push Shamrock Rovers in front of 5. Again, it's set piece though. Bowes will be disappointed to concede. Yeah. Lions comes in at the far post and finishes it off. The OG for Murphy, I felt sorry for him. It was a great ball in by Jack Byrne across the area. Murphy either has 2 decisions: go for it and hope it goes out for a corner or something, or let it go, which you can't do as a defender. And Mandrew probably gets it in the back stick. So there's not much you can do there. Bowes rallied though. I have to say in the second half, fair play to them. They brought on Promise and took off Twardick. Twardick had a poor game. Put Promise more or less up front with Junior and played direct. And they did score in 69 when Junior scored after Devoy had a shot well saved by Manus. But I don't know, 10 seconds later, maybe. Mandrew makes it 3-1. I didn't even see it because the place was gone mental. Bolts had just scored. Next thing I looked and Rovers players were celebrating in the corner. And I'm going, what the hell is after happening here? So it went from this is going to be really interesting last 20 minutes to the game falling. That goal, the game went last 20 minutes, there was nothing in the game. It was flat as anything. Bowls just were going through the motions. They just couldn't get into it. Rovers controlled it completely. Look, it's a great win for Rovers ultimately. That's 5 wins in the bounce now. They're right up behind Derry as well. And look, if Derry are going to win this league, I think they're going to have to do something majestic, put it that way.
Aye, and we always knew that the Rovers eventually were going to come strong. Like, it was a good start by Derry, and that's all it was.
Derry are still going well. It's just that Rovers have the ability. We said it. There's no other team that has the ability in the league to win 6-7 games in a row. And Rovers are down on 5, and they could draw next week and do the same again, possibly.
And that's what it was. It was a good start. They put Shamrock Rovers under pressure, maybe make them think a wee bit about what they need to do themselves if they want to maintain their title. And they're in the swagger now. And I'll always go back, because they haven't looked back, is that result against Sligo where they were 2-0 down, and they got back to 2 each, could have won it, and they've won every game they've played since. And that's what champions do. They bounce back from adversity, and they just all of a sudden they kick on. And you just mentioned that midfield. Like, there's not a midfield in the country that touches it basically. Like, they can put
then you've Dylan Watts who can come in and rotate.
They can put anybody. They can go up against anybody, pick any 3-4, whatever they want in that midfield, and it doesn't weaken them. It freshens them up. And I didn't expect any other result than a Rovers win here. I thought they would win by 2 goals, and that's what they did. or did I can't remember now what I predicted, but whenever Bows get back into it, you're probably thinking, no, it's game on here. And what a way just to kill it, just go up the other end and kill the game, kill the atmosphere, because I would say that if that game had gone another 5 minutes at 2-1,
you never know.
That place would have been bunching, whatever. Oh, another ball in the box, a silly tackle from Rovers, whatever, give away a penalty, and all of a sudden the place is late. But fair play to them, they went up the other end, and they just probably absolutely killed the whole stadium basically with a goal. And as you say, with the man who scored the goal, Mandry, people probably didn't. As you say, you didn't realise that there's probably thousands of others didn't realise they just scored. They were wondering why Danny Mandry's run the way celebrating. So disappointing from a Bows point of view that must have been in the kickoff that's happened. You've just got
your
yourself
teeth long there. You're going, oh, you're just pulling. You are pulling your hair out. I know Rovers were brilliant and controlled the game, but you've somehow got it back to 2-1, and you've conceded like 10, 15 seconds. It's a killer, isn't it?
Yeah, because you're up against your big Dublin rivals. You probably haven't played well to that point, but you've got yourself back in it. And the last thing you want to do is concede straight from the kickoff. You get yourself back in it. You're back in it. It's the one game where you're a goal down. This is a game where the fans are really going to be up for it and pushing you on and all. And then you say Keith Long and Trevor Crawley are just probably looking at the heavens and thinking, we've shot ourselves in the foot again, and which they've done quite a lot this season.
I mean, there's a concentration level there as well. I know we talk about last minute goals, but this kind of plays into that as well. But one of the things I noticed as well, now I've noticed it before as well, but maybe I haven't really mentioned too often, is how much physicality Bows are lacking, and probably particularly because Promise didn't start the game and Feely didn't start the game. So you really saw it in this game. You know, I'd say outside the UCD, they're probably got the shortest, you know what I mean, the kind of lowest physical level, if you like, in the league. And that is a problem. I mean, Liam Burt at times got the ball and ran with the ball and tried his best, but just the physicality of Rovers and that. The volume midfield was okay, but if you're up against O'Neill, Towell, Byrne in the midfield, and say you've got Coote and Levinson that maybe aren't really performing, I mean, you're on a hiding to nothing there. I mean, you could have had Jack Byrne that Bows midfield, if you get me, and flipped it over a little bit. He would have struggled, like, so. You know, that's a big concern for Bows as well. And I don't know.
They've lost a lot of experience as well from last year. Keith Buckley, Keith Bard,
Cornwell,
Rob Cornwall. Like, so
even Kelly you could throw in with a bit of experience for what he's won at Dundalk.
Them's the type of players that you need in these kind of games, just to get a grip of the game. Like, you think about the last minute goals, Alexa Fan Harps against Derry, other games where they've conceded in the last minute, Drogheda as well. Them's the type of games where them players would have got them over the line, and maybe not necessarily scored another goal, but just having the know-how, just to take the sting out of the game and whatnot. And whenever you're coming up against Shamrock Rovers, when you've got the talent that they have, you need to be physical. You need to put yourself about them, let them know that they're going to be in a battle. And
they tried to do that, JP, I'll be honest, in the first 20 minutes in particular. They tried to do that, but the problem is, you know, they just couldn't out-muscle them, basically. That's the one thing. And the second thing, they lacked control in their play because they're almost too focused on that kind of play. Right. But they haven't really got the players to be able to do that. And that's a problem in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like, if you want to be physical, you need to have the ability to do it. And like, to be disappointed because they conceded after 5 minutes. Like, you're coming into a game and the last thing you want to do and you're coming up against Rovers, just concede that early, because it just gives them a foothold in the game, and you're chasing the game the rest of the game, and that's how mistakes happen. Like, you're thinking, oh, we need to get ourselves back in this quickly, and you don't do the basics right. And I haven't seen the goals apart from the Andy Lyons goal. I haven't seen the OG or the Danny Mandry goal, so can't comment on them. But
I didn't see much of the Mandry goal either, and I was there.
But it's just basic defending. It's a corner and then it finds its way to the back post, and Andy Lyons is there and as a tap-in, and I'm sure he loved that because I'm sure he would have got a nice reception when he came out. But as much as I'm going to enjoy the title race between Derry and Shamrock Rovers, hopefully it's tight. I'm going to enjoy the battle between him and Ronan Boyce to see who can score the most goals as well.
So, hi guys, had to do this one separate, so I thought I'd put it in with the show, to be fair. And I watched the game in full, and what a game it was. Sligo Rovers 3, Drogheda United 2 at the showgrounds. I mean, this game had everything. It's arguably, in terms of drama and goals and all that kind of stuff, it was probably the best game I've seen this season. For a start, Sligo are up to fourth now on 19 points, and they'll be delighted with the win. Drogheda's first defeat. There had been 6 unbeaten. They're still in 7th and 13. But Sligo were 2 up inside 3 minutes. I mean, Drogheda, I think, we're still on the bus, to be fair. But brilliant start by Sligo. Cawley with 2 goals, 2 superb goals. The home crowd couldn't believe it, guys. 2 up inside the first 3 minutes. It was just amazing stuff. And after that, the game ebbed and flowed, and there were chances for both sides. And Drogheda did settle into it, and they did score in 30 minutes to make it 2-1. McGinty fouled the Drogheda player. I'm not sure who it was. I can't remember. Was it Rooney or Brennan? But just so much happened in this game, guys. Hard to remember all the little details. And Chris Lyne stepped up, and his penalty was saved. But McGinty, the point was in hand. Like, coolly finished, actually, to make it 2-1. And to be honest, Sligo go in at half time, obviously. But before that, they missed the penalty themselves. And soft-ish, I have to say. When I say soft, it was soft, but Evan Ware does give the referee an excuse by tugging the player back, I think. And when that happens, you're always in trouble. But anyway, Keane steps up to take the penalty, and what a save by Sam Long to get down low and say, Keane, like, there's not an awful lot wrong Keane does with the penalty. Usually when a player misses a penalty and the keeper saves it, you are looking at the player and saying, you know, maybe you can do better there. But it's a brilliant save by Sam Long. He gets down low and makes an incredible save in the corner. And that should have been 3-1 Sligo, could have been 3-1 Sligo. And probably at that point, you think a game over. And Sligo had a few chances then after that. And Sam Long made a very good save. David Cawley was in the mood tonight for shooting, that's for sure. And at half time, considering the half, 2-1 probably flattered Drogheda. And Sligo would have been a little disappointed going 2-1 up at half time. And into the second half, and it's 2-2. Chris Lyons makes it 2-2 on 44 minutes. And you're thinking, have Sligo blown this now? They played some excellent stuff at times in the game. The midfield are really controlled, by the way. And the top Bulger was on form. Cawley played well. Moran played well. And they really control that midfield, Sligo. And you're thinking to yourself, when Drogheda get 2-2, have Sligo blown their opportunity here after playing so well, going 2-0 up, missing the penalty. And Drogheda's spirit was just shining through here. You know what I mean? Any team that goes 2 down after 3 minutes, you're thinking they're probably gone. And their spirits really showed through in this game again, big time. But they'd be disappointed with Evan Weir getting sent off, picking up the second yellow 2 minutes after going 2 minutes after, after going level. And it was just a sucker punch because you just felt then the Sligo were just going to own the ball for the rest of the match, and Drogheda's energy might sap eventually. And that's what happened. And there were a few dangerous moments there. Drogheda tried to counter in the game, to be fair to them. And in injury time, Gary Buckley is on hand to bundle the ball into the net, and Sligo get all 3 points. A massive 3 points. They would have been devastated had they not won it, considering being 2 up after 3 minutes. But Drogheda will be devastated the fact that I suppose they got the second yellow card to Evan Ware, and it just put them on the back foot for the last 30 minutes and made it harder for them to actually make a third as well, to be fair, because there was a possibility they could have done that as well. But absolutely brilliant match. Drogheda will be disappointed. Sligo now will be absolutely delighted, guys, into the European spots. They play next week against Rovers, Shamrock that is, and in the Rovers derby. I believe isn't that at home? I think Sligo are home as well. And Drogheda travel to Dundalk to Oriel to play the Loud derby. So yeah, amazing game, brilliant game. Really enjoyed watching it. Pitch not in good condition still in Sligo, I think it's fair to say. Very bouncy, it seems dead. But unbelievable game, fantastic win for Sligo. They'll be delighted. So guys, we'll leave it there. Let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. It's free. Just hit the subscribe button. Your bell notification button keeps you up to date with all our videos, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. That's about it, guys. See you later.